start of the meeting.
Yeah, since I have control.
Okay.
Options. You are recording this meeting. Be sure to let everybody know. Okay. I did. Right. Well, thanks for inviting us today.
Well, I am Miss Snider from Richland School. I'm a family consumer science teacher, and I teach the education and training classes, which is the TAP classes, teaching as a professional, and then also the arts and design curriculum, which is the fashion department for that. And so I want to welcome Ena Reaves, who is the STEM teacher at Battle Creek Elementary School, and Cliff Reaves, her husband, who is the Fedex Manager at Spring Hill FedEx.
That's right. Thanks so much. We've had a really exciting year this year. We've been celebrating because we were just accredited with the state to becoming a STEM school. It was a interesting year because it was COVID and only our second, year being a school, because we are a brand new school, a brand new building. We just opened in 2019. So we have really went on a journey.
So Cliff, tell me a little bit about you.
So it's been quite a year for everybody, I think. Can you guys hear me okay? Can you hear me good?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. But with shipping, of course, as the FedEx side of things, with my business, we've really picked up with shipping, just everyone staying at home and ordering more and more things instead of going out and shopping this year. Of course, Christmas was crazy. And it really hasn't slowed down too much since all that started. But on the printing side of things, which we also print, and we offer design services and things of that nature in our store as well. That has slowed down a little bit. I think a lot of companies have kind of cut back on their budgets for printing, just because everything's digital right now and no one's meeting face to face. They're starting to now, but this last year not so much, and so the printing side suffered a little bit. But we're kind of getting back into the swing of things and just crossing our fingers and seeing how things are going to go from here.
Good. I know one thing that we all look forward to is growth. Anytime you have a company, you want that company to grow, and COVID has definitely put a challenge in that department. Ms. Reaves, Ena, tell me a little bit about why you became a teacher, and what would you recommend to upcoming students who are interested in becoming future teachers in Tennessee?
Oh, yeah. So what I like to tell people that are thinking about going into the education field is that it opens doors to a lot more than just the teaching profession. Every day is different, and then building student relationships and helping them on their journeys is all going to be different. And it's something that brings it brings a lot of joy when you're thinking of a career that you want to have one day. A lot of people think money first, but with the teaching profession, it might not be the highest paying job, but it's very fulfilling. And if you can find fulfillment in your job and passion in it, then you're going to be happy. And I have found a lot of happiness in my job. And so I encourage them because it is a very fulfilling job. You get to help so many, and it's rewarding in that manner. Not only that, it's ever changing. education is not the same today as it was just a couple years ago with our momentum, our STEM approach and technology. I'm constantly having to learn. So it's not a stagnant job. I'm constantly having to go to PDs and educate myself, and it's something that you never stop learning. You just never stop growing, and you never stop learning.
I think what I enjoyed hearing about with your accreditation is the fact that you are reaching so many students and teaching them about a multitude of careers. You're not just, focused in one area. And to me, that's preparing students in that elementary age to come up into the, junior high school area. And by them becoming acquainted with so many different professions, that gets their feet wet, and that lets them know, hey, this is for me or this is not for me, and helps them decide on their career path. So I know I was telling students the other day that your it was eighth graders, and I said, hey, you guys are coming to the high school now, and you're starting with that 4.0 GPA. And so that can make or break you, and what you do with it is where it will lead you for your career. Kids think that when they come to high school that, we're going because mom and dad make us go and the state makes us go, but this is your stepping stone to your career. And so this is for you as a student. It is not for mom and dad or anybody else. And really, I think that that's what has to be instilled in students, because that's their drive, and that's what's going to help them to have better grades and to do well toward that career.
Right. We really look at three things: is what's something that I can be one day that's going to help people, or that's going to help the earth or the world. We forget about that a lot. And then something that's going to provide for us and our families. And I think that's where we find our fulfillment. And it's not just about making money. It's about helping people, helping the planet, and making money to help our families. So it's been real interesting watching their journeys and their career paths this year, because when I look at my curriculum, you're right, we go ahead and we start looking at all the different career pathways. And I'll go online and I'll look at the CTE pathways through Tennessee. And I've paced that out throughout the year, so they're exposed to, you think about STEM careers, you don't necessarily think of the judicial part of it, but it is a part of it, because we look at that employability skills, which is also on the Tennessee designation website. It's a wealth of knowledge. If you ever want to try to go there, it tells you, even presenting and investigating problems and finding those solutions. I know, when Cliff, and Cliff Mike can tell you more about this, when he wants to hire somebody, yes, he understands there's going to be training, but he wants somebody that can identify a problem and then bring some solutions to the table. So that's a skill to have.
You want to elaborate on that, Cliffy?
Yeah, absolutely. Every day there's going to be problems. No matter what you do in the day, you're going to have some sort of issues come up that need solving. And, there's a lot of people that will see the problem and point out the problem. That's the easy thing to do, but coming up with a solution and fixing the problem, owning the problem, that's what we want to see in business. And it doesn't really matter what business you're in, whether it's teaching or what career you choose to go into. You want to find the problem, that's fine, and then you want to try to find that solution, or collaborate with other team members or professionals that can help you solve the problem. and so long as you're trying to seek the answers, then you're going to be contributing to that company or to that field that you're in, as long as you're seeking to find those solutions.
I also think it's a big part of learning when you fail. And a lot of people think about, I mean, even in school, I failed, oh, I'm not going to be good at school. But that's just one step in the direction of learning to grow. And it's okay to make mistakes, and it's okay to fail, and you learn from it, and you continue your path and your journey through those mistakes. And we got to start learning not to give up when things get hard, or when there's just not a quick answer right away. You know, we and learn to really attack problems and find those solutions and collaborate with people. Like Cliff said, building relationships is so important. And they even talk about how, you know, relationships trump, building those relationships will, in providing a culture and atmosphere in the business place, oftentimes will trump anything else. It trumps the data. You have to start with relationships first.
And that's going to be among your colleagues, but it's also going to be affected by customer service. You know, when you're talking about those customers that are going to continue to come to you, that's the reason that there's so many ratings anymore. No matter what you purchase today or where you purchase it, they want a rating on what you think, not only of the product itself, but the service that you received. And so that's something that I think that kids have got to learn, you know, work on. Strengthening is those communication skills and people skills, being able to, like, you know, talk about situations, issues, problems, but also be able to sell your product and be able to express, you know, your passion for your product that you're selling, whether it's your own company or somebody else's product, because it doesn't matter what's selling. If it's not selling, you're not going to have a job and have a position. And so one thing that kids come to me more and more every year, they want to have their own business. They want to work from home. And so when you're working with the shipping end, Cliff, do you see a lot of home businesses or small businesses in our communities?
Oh, more than ever right now. It's huge. Living in Spring Hill, it's, I would say, at about 50% of the people that work here, you know, in the last year especially, are working from home. So there are businesses that, I mean, you think of our population here around 45,000 people, and 20, you know, the working adults here, half of them are working from home. That's a lot. And, you know, they're working for businesses in other states. We're constantly shipping things back and forth to these businesses for them, printing things for their presentations that they're doing, their Zoom meetings and things of that nature. So yeah, we see it, and it's never been bigger than it is right now. And so it really, if you don't know what you want to do right now, that's okay. Um, I do encourage you, you know, to seek opportunities, even if you are still in high school. I work with, I see a lot of high schoolers working right now that are contributing to the businesses they're part of by offering great customer service in whatever business they're in. It can start right now for you, and you're developing those skills. You're developing that resume, and if you're like me, I had no clue what I wanted to be or do when I graduated from college. Even I tried a few things, and I ended up finding a job in the corporate field, because when I say corporate field, working for Fedex office, because they had health insurance. That was my whole reason at the time for getting that job. But I knew that no matter what job I chose, I was going to work hard at it, and I was going to commit myself to helping the company that I was with. And by doing that, great customer service was part of that. And so it doesn't matter what company you go in or what field you go in, just keep that in mind that you can excel. Um, and if you can find a company right now that's hiring from, working from home, that's fantastic. You can get paid just as much. And sometimes, and that presents its own challenges for people too, to have their own workspace. I hear people talk to me all the time about, especially if they have kids, that they have to set up their own offices and things of that nature to be able to focus on just work at certain periods of time. And it's also a discipline thing, getting yourself out of bed to go into the next room to go to work, and that can be sometimes more challenging for people. So know yourself and know what your capabilities are. And, if that's something that you're interested in, then go for it.
And that reminds me of the design process that we, teach students to solve everyday problems, being able to, like he was talking about, like looking at what challenges present themselves and walking through, okay, is it a time management thing and how can I improve that? Is it a customer service thing? Is it my product? And thinking about how can I tweak that and how can I, constantly giving and receiving feedback from your customers is super important. And learning how to receive feedback and not shut down is very important. Those attitudes are important.
And that goes back to that passion. It's not all just about the money. If you do not have the passion, you're not going to have that drive. And you have to have a reason to get up in the morning, and that passion is what's going to give you that reason. So, well, I really appreciate you guys stepping up and sharing your thoughts and telling me more about your business and some of those words of encouragement. Today, what would you say is the number one advice that you would give to middle school students going into high school?
School going into high school. Well, it can be a tough time. I think, we have two middle school kids ourselves, and school's not easy. And it gets harder, I think, for kids every year. The pressure that they put on you and that you can put on yourselves at time. Try to have fun, while you're in high school, but at the same time, be thinking in the back of your mind, how can this thing that I'm doing, whether it be in a class or in your social life, how can this help me in the future? And don't take for granted the friends that you have right now. Treat everyone well, and who knows, you guys can create a company together, even in high school. You don't have to just wait to graduate. Things are being done all the time that are amazing by kids your age. So that's my advice.
My advice would be don't ever think you have a dumb question. Always be bold and ask for help. There are so many people and so many resources around you. Ask, get advice, seek wisdom, and there, like I said, just if you fail, it's okay. It's one step in the right direction, and just continue to find those people that can help you in your walk, in your journey, and look to those mentors. Find those mentors.
Very good. Very good advice. Thank you guys so much for being here and helping me out. And hopefully it's also helped you guys out with advisory committee meetings that you might have to have yourself. And you have any questions for me today?
I guess, thinking about like all the students and like that you've had in the past, because you're a fairly seasoned teacher, what do you notice about their futures, like those that have gone on before you, and how does that help you reflect on your practice today? So
I think
like
that, go ahead.
so I guess what I'm trying to say is like where your students are now, your past students, right? And then how does that help you reflect on your students that you currently have?
I think that life skills is essential for life and for careers. A lot of times, kids don't realize that until they get out of high school and get into the real world. And I have so many kids that come back and say, Miss Snyder, I use more skills that I learned from you than I did in anything else I ever, classes that I took in high school. And I get tickled because I know in my heart that that's not true. They're using skills from every class, but they seem to remember some of the things that we did in my class. And so I just hope that I can give them strength. Kids are the same 19 years ago as they are today, and it all goes back to finding the strength of each student. One thing that I have always done, and I always have former or teachers that had students in the past, and I ask them, look at my role and tell me which students are going to be a challenge. And they will put those little check marks there for me. And when those kids come through my door, I have jobs for them to do. I try to make them feel important, because when you feel important, then you will perform like you need to, and you won't be a discipline problem, and you're going to learn and grow throughout your life. And that's the biggest thing that I have seen when administrators come to me and say, who is that kid? And I know they know who that kid is because they've seen them in their office, and they'll say, that kid is different for you than they are for any other teacher. What have you done with that kid? And I think that you empower them to feel strong. We don't know where kids are coming from each day. We don't know what their home life is like. And so if we do not find their strength, then they will struggle to find that success, that great success, but they will. So
awesome.
I see so many similarities between Ena's teaching job and your teaching job. She's a STEM teacher, and you're a family consumer science teacher. It's like the same thing. It's about critical thinking skills, those hands-on. What is life going to be like after school? And what all are you learning in all these classes? And how can we apply them in this class, because that's what life is going to be. And so I love hearing you guys' stories and the way that you guys approach teaching kids, because those are the kids I want in my work. When I hire people, I'm like, send them my way, because that's exactly the kind of people that we look for.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Great job. I appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Awesome. Well, we'll see you later. If you have any more questions, just let us know.
Okay. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.